This is the story that you've all been waiting for. Treaster, as we're calling it. Republicans slam Biden for proclaiming Transgender Day of Visibility on Easter, though it's yearly observed on March 31st. All right, so there's a lot to unpack here. We're probably going to make fun of everyone involved. Statement from President Joe Biden on Transgender Day of Visibility. Transgender Day of Visibility. We celebrate the strength, the joy, absolute courage of some of the bravest people I know. Transgender Americans deserve to be safe and supported in every community. But today, across our country, MAGA extremists are advancing hateful and extreme state laws that target transgender kids and their families. No one should have to be brave just to be themselves. Come on, man. Let me be clear. These attacks are un-American and must end. The bullying, discrimination, and attacks on the trans kids face our exacerbated national mental health crisis. More than half of Flockalima transgender youth seriously consider suicide. Loving parents are terrified for their children's future. To help, my administration will provide dedicated emergency mental health resources. If you're a transgender young person who needs help, you can call 988. Here at Suicide Prevention Crisis. Press 3. Speak with a counselor specifically trained to support. They threw another letter in there. I didn't even know. LGBTQI plus youth. Now, I mean, it changes so fast. You just can't keep up. We're going to get canceled for leaving off a letter one of these days. My administration will never quit fighting to end discrimination, to stand against these unjust state laws, and to guarantee everyone the fundamental right and freedom to be who they are. We'll never stop working to create a world where everyone can live without fear, where parents, teachers, and whole communities come together to support kids no matter how they identify, and every child is surrounded by compassion and love. I want every member of the trans community to know that we see you. You're each made in the image of God and deserve love, dignity, and respect. You make America stronger, and we're with you. Okay. All right. The kinds of laws that he's talking about are laws regarding things like whether children are able to consent to medical treatments that will sterilize them for the rest of their lives, that have a very high medical complication rate on the basis of, I cannot say it enough, total lack of evidence. Every country that has done a meta-analysis of the data upon which the idea of gender-affirming care in children is based have concluded that there are very low data to support it, certainly nothing commensurate to the risk of harm to the child. This is the kind of insanity that he is calling bigotry. So, moving along, now that we got that out of the way. Republicans are taking aim at President Joe Biden for proclaiming Easter Sunday as the Transgender Day of Visibility, though the 2 days only coincided this year by chance. Now, that's where I'm going to piss off some other people. Yeah, man. I mean, that was a dumb claim. It's always on March 31st. Do I think Joe Biden should have gone out of his way to make that kind of a proclamation, given the coincidence of those things landing on Easter? No. He's kind of between a rock and a hard place, though, because the only people left who are going to vote for him are people who found that inspiring. So what was he going to do? If he didn't say it, they would have attacked him for it. And certainly nobody he would have pleased by not saying it is voting for him anyway. But
it was incidental. Like, the day just happened to coincide with Easter.
Nobody designated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea is absurd. Yeah, no, they sat down and said, well, how can we lose more votes than we're already losing on Gaza? Let's talk about the trans on Easter. That's what I want. Yeah, I mean it's just ridiculous.
No, so it was just random.
It was just one of those
wander into Jesus's bathroom,
yes,
this year.
Exactly. They found him doing a line on the septic tank. Yeah. The Transgender Day of Visibility, which was started in 2009 as a day of awareness to celebrate the successes of transgender and gender nonconforming people, is held annually on March 31st. The date of Easter, meanwhile, changes from year to year. But several Republicans seized on Biden's proclamation to attack the president. It is appalling and insulting that Joe Biden's White House formally proclaimed Easter Sunday as Trans Day of Visibility, former President Donald Trump's campaign said in a statement. It's appalling and insulting that Joe Biden's this is another piece of bullshit. Prohibited children from submitting religious egg designs for their Easter art event and formally proclaimed Easter Sunday as Trans Day of Visibility. Sadly, these are just two more examples of the Biden administration's years-long assault on the Christian faith. We call on Joe Biden's failing campaign. I mean, it's not attributed to Trump, but it sounds like he wrote this. I guess they just have like a good sense of his language in their ear by now.
Right.
We call on Joe Biden's failing campaign and the White House to issue an apology to the millions of Catholics and Christians across America who believe tomorrow is for one celebration of only the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Carolyn Leavitt, National Press Secretary. Yeah, sure. This is Trump's burner account. House Speaker Mike Johnson said the Biden administration had betrayed the central tenet of Easter in a post on X. The American people are taking note. White House spokesperson Andrew Bates said in a statement Saturday, as a Christian who celebrates Easter with family, President Biden stands for bringing people together and upholding the dignity and freedoms of every American. Well, that's very heartwarming. In this year's presidential proclamation, Biden said the Transgender Day of Visibility honors the extraordinary courage and contributions of transgender Americans. Transgender Americans are part of the fabric of our nation, the proclamation said, adding that they deserve and are entitled to the same rights and freedoms as every other American, including the most fundamental freedom to be their true selves. Biden issued the first ever presidential proclamation of its kind in recognition of the Transgender Day of Visibility in 2021 and has since issued a proclamation every year. The national debate over transgender rights has grown increasingly contentious, with Republican lawmakers at the state and federal level calling for a range of stringent laws, including restrictions on gender-affirming care for minors and excluding trans women from competing in sports teams that align with their gender identity. Now, I want to make it clear, because of course CNN is going to frame that and subtly phrase it as a fringe position. That is the position of 70% of Americans. So 70% of Americans are MAGA extremists, according to the implications here. Some Republicans, including Johnson and Trump, also claim that Biden banned religious-themed designs at the White House's Easter events. The American Egg Board, who knew, which partners with the White House on Easter events, said the procedures in place this year haven't changed. Elizabeth Alexander, a spokesperson for First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, cast the Republican egg complaints as misleading swirl and posted on X, the American Egg Board flyer's standard non-discrimination language requesting artwork has been used for the last 45 years across all Dem and Republican administrations. But Donald Trump Jr. nonetheless made the claim that Biden is banning religious symbols from Easter celebrations at the White House while flying the trans flag and declaring Easter Sunday to be Trans Visibility Day. This is the left's new religion. They want people worshiping the trans flag instead of God. They must be stopped. Okay. Quote, I didn't do that, Biden said when asked about proclaiming Easter Sunday Trans Day of Visibility. Asked about Speaker Johnson's claim otherwise, the president replied, he's thoroughly uninformed. So there's a lot going on there. So yes, I think Easter falling on the same day by coincidence put Joe Biden between a rock and a hard place, and he went with the few people who still think voting for him is a good idea because who's he gonna win over by not catering to them at this point? But I mean, this was just incredibly stupid claims that were being made by his political opponents, claiming intentionally put it on that day, and the claim that he uniquely banned religious symbols on the Easter eggs. Apparently, that's always banned. What's most interesting about that to me, because I didn't know anything about that, is how much Easter, even more than Christmas, really has fallen back to its pagan roots. I mean, at that point, if you're just going to completely take out any crucifix or resurrected Jesus, and you just got a bunny and some eggs, I mean, you're back to midsummer. You're back to just a pagan ritual.
Yeah, and ironically, a quite gay one. All these pastel colored eggs, fucking guys dressed up as bunnies with kids sitting on a fucking lap. I mean, it's gay. It's become a gay holiday. So that's why, like I want to hear this fucking bullshit. Like, it's such crap. I never realized how much. I guess I should have. But Easter is a very important Christian holiday, apparently. But I didn't really have a sense of that growing up as a kid, partly because of what you just said.
Right. Like especially for Jews,
iconography has been stripped of it. Like when I was a kid, I was raised secular.
The chocolate
My
bunnies.
mother comes from a Catholic family. My father comes from a Jewish family. So we knew Easter as fun, egg hunting, eating chocolate and shit. I had really no idea what it was about, probably until like 5th or 6th grade is when I learned it. Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, but that's just bringing it back to its roots, right? I mean, it's just a harvest holiday or a renewal holiday. A holiday of the spring, of growth, of planting of the crops, the changing of the seasons.
It's Find Out Day. That's what we workshop that on our Patreon show. You saying Good Friday is fuck around day.
Yes.
and Easter is
Find Out Day. Growing up, I mean, because even Jews celebrate it with their kids, man, because they give them like the chocolate bunnies and the little like peeps. They still have those, the peeps. It's like pure sugar marshmallow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, those are still out there. Absolutely. Oh, my kids loved it. We did the egg hunt and everything and the decorating. Like, it's a fun day for a kid.
Yeah, decorating the eggs.
Yeah, I had no idea the religious meaning of it until I was an older kid.
No, you're right. Until I was older, I probably didn't understand what it was that like Jesus rose on that day. Yeah, I probably didn't get that when I was a kid.
Right.
It was just like the one with the chocolate bunnies. So hey, Don Jr. by accident and in a roundabout way has a point that they're secularizing this holiday, but they didn't really do it.
The greens and the pinks and the blues, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't secularize it. They've had like egg dyeing kits since I was little, and I'm sure long before that. Like, it hasn't been celebrated by a lot of people as a religious holiday, not even really by Christians.
Right.
I mean, you go to a Christian's house at Easter, what do they got? They got the same shit Jews have, colored eggs and chocolate bunnies.
Yeah, right. No,
it's not like they got they got a guy freaking nailed to the wall, they're not.
A guy coming out of the ground.
they have a guy burst out of the shed in the backyard in a loincloth.
Hey, there's still tickets available in Stockholm, Oslo, Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Cortland, New York, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, El Paso, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Edmonton, Alberta, Vancouver, British Columbia, Denver, Ashland, Virginia, and Athens, Georgia. See you there.